Our first guest is the founder of Electric Minds, an online community, former executive editor of Hot Wired magazine, author of many books, including the brand new one. It's called Smart Mobs, The Next Social Revolution. There it is. Steve, you can give it to me now because I want my copy. This is good. How technology is making us smarter, but not necessarily better. Howard Rheingold, welcome to the show. It's good to have you.
My pleasure.
He is turned from a shoe painter to a shoe painter proselytizer. He's spreading the word on painting your shoes. Love the painted sabot today we have. Those are very... You're famous for that, aren't you now?
I'm spreading the word.
Now, you use the internet to spread the word.
Yes.
Do you expect that there will be a smart mob of shoe painters?
I'm hoping to see on the streets of major cities around the world people painting their shoes, yes.
This would be an okay smart mob.
Yes,
a good
that's right,
smart
a fun
mob.
one.
What is a smart? I know what a mob is. It's a group of people who kind of lose their head and become a social animal and have, you know, often no conscience and just kind of go crazy. I've been part of a mob back in the 60s, and it's a weird feeling. What's a smart mob?
Groups of people who coordinate their activities in the real world using mobile communications and the internet.
So they're not necessarily all in one place, but they are connected.
In one place. We have teenagers who flock, and we've got 1 million Filipino citizens who demonstrate and bring down an entire government, and that's just the beginning.
Yeah, it's amazing. SMS, this cell phone text messaging, transformed the Philippine Revolution.
Yes.
They were communicating via cell phone, by text.
Manifestos, millions of messages, 100 billion text messages sent every month worldwide.
You know, that hasn't taken off really here in the States for some reason, probably technical reasons. What is it about it that makes it so big? It's huge in Europe now, in England, Finland,
It's
Asia?
like instant messaging. There are a lot of instances in which saying, I'll be home in 20 minutes, or I'll meet you at 5th and Main, it's a lot easier to send a message in text to somebody's screen than to call them on the phone. Also, there are a lot of opportunities to communicate where you don't necessarily have to be heard that are appealing to a lot of people in a lot of situations.
Can you use SMS to do from one to many, or is it always one-to-one
Yes,
communication?
that's what was big in the Philippines. You send one message, and then someone can forward it to everyone in their address book.
Ah, so it becomes then a broadcast medium as well.
Yes,
That's one of the things that you talk about in the book is for the last 50 years, broadcasters had kind of this dominant paradigm where it was us talking to the many, one to the many. The internet's really changed that. It's many-to-many communications.
Well, every desktop is now, for better and worse, a
Yeah.
printing press and a broadcasting station and a place of assembly and a marketplace. Pretty soon, we're going to see everybody's pocket become all of those things.
Amazing. When did you first start thinking about this?
When I saw people on the streets of Tokyo and Helsinki looking at their phones instead of listening to them, I started looking into
They're
it.
walking around like this.
Yes, oh yes.
Now, there's certainly positives, and these are clear. A woman who won the Nobel Prize Peace Prize for stopping landmines said, I couldn't have done it without email.
Yes, that's right.
It's a valuable organizing tool. What are the negatives of this?
Well, smart mobs are about groups who organize their activities in real time. Not every group who wants to cooperate has socially beneficial ends in mind. So you got terrorists, you got criminals, you maybe even have spammers.
How about
worst
the
of
mob?
all.
How about the mob? Is smart mobs organized crime?
Well, oh yes, they are always on the cutting edge of technology. You know, organized crime all over the world is always ahead. It's like the military and the intelligence. The organized crime is right there with them.
Yeah, the one time only cell phone, things like that. They pioneered the stuff like that. How about hackers? Do we worry about that too?
Hackers may be the ones who invent the medium. Don't forget, you know, Bill Gates was once a 19-year-old Harvard dropout, and it's the users who quite often create the uses for new technologies.
Yeah. I remember my experience with the mob was a little scary because it was possible to do things as part of a mob that you would never do as an individual. You lose a little bit of your individuation. Do you see that with digital smart mobs?
Well, I think there are a lot of great opportunities for things like eBay to pop up on people walking down the street. But I also think, and that's why I used the term, that we're going to see demonstrations in the future that are not necessarily nonviolent or democratic.
Yeah.
Like any technology, it has benefits and also has pitfalls.
Yeah. You talk about digital cities. Tell me about that.
Well, increasingly it's possible to associate information with places. So I'm new in town, how do I get to 5th and Main? Or is there a good Chinese restaurant in this direction? Or what do the people who have eaten in this restaurant say about the service in the last 2 hours? So we're seeing more and more cities experimenting with putting wireless information that's available anywhere.
I use the Zagat guides on my Palm.
Yes.
And that's incredible.
Yes.
No matter where you are, you say, well, I'm here. What's a good Chinese restaurant within a mile? And it's there. These things you couldn't do before.
Or what about saying, I'm going to be in the airport for the next 2 hours. Who here is from my company or my hometown or knows my friends?
Are we getting to that where these things are kind of somehow communicating online, their presence all the time? And
well, you know, we think of them as telephones, but increasingly they're little internet terminals.
Yeah.
If you remember what a PC was like 10 years ago, they're going to be a lot more powerful, a lot less expensive, and not too long.
Well, you also talk in here about sentient machines, that they, in a way, are going to have their own sentience.
Well, we have sentience in the sense that they can sense the environment, not that they're
not they're
intelligent.
thinking, right.
But, you know, we have barcodes on things now that tell you information if you have a barcode reader.
Right.
Increasingly, those are going to be replaced by chips that are going to be able to sense the environment. So maybe you can point your telephone at a piece of meat in the supermarket and it will tell you that it sat in the sun for 3 hours, 500 miles away. Or you know, a shirt will show you the factory where it's manufactured.
Or I could put my phone at your shoes and you could send me the pattern for how to do it.
Exactly.
Howard Rheingold's new book. It's always great reading Howard's stuff. It gets the mind going in all sorts of new and interesting directions. The new book is called Smart Mobs, The Next Social Revolution. He's been on the forefront of the last couple. Let's see what's ahead with Howard Rheingold. Rheingold.com is the website, RHEINGOLD. And there's so much more you can find on interesting on the imminent benefits and dangers of smart mob technology at our website, and that's thescreensavers.com, plus a link to buy Howard's book as well. And our own catalog of tomorrow, you contributed to that too.
Yes, I wrote the forward to that.
Yeah, it was really interesting. It's great to have you on, Howard. Thanks very much for joining us once again.